Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for Tyler Perry's Sistas. Woo, child. So this started off exactly where it left off last time, where Danni and um, Preston's brothers came up there trying to regulate, thinking they was finna tell Danni where she can go and where she can put it and stick it and everything else. And so they're going back and forth. They calling her all out her name. One of them leaned into her and said, "You niggers disgust me." And I'm just like, what? Like, what? Okay, so one of the things that one of the brothers said to her was that they dared him or bet him that he would not be able to basically pull a black woman. And I'm just like, hopefully this isn't true. But yeah, because I kind of feel like it's not, because after he'd already gotten the draws, he kept trying to convince her of other things, because this could have just been a hit it and quit it situation if that was the case. So I'm not really buying that. Now, if it was, he really did act very well. He put on an amazing act, if that's what it was. They are convinced that she might want some dealings with them because they have money. And so the other brother was like, "You ain't getting none of our money." And she's looking like, "What are you even talking about?" Oh my gosh. One of the brothers said something about, "Don't make us have to tell our mama." And so she was like, "Who, your mama, aunt, grandmother?" Trying to, of course, read and say that some incest happened in order for them to be created. One of the brothers said something about how she need to go back to Africa, of course, and all of that, where you're from. And so she was like, "I'm from Detroit." I was like, oh my gosh. She read them because of their hillbilly redneck ways and all this other stuff. And I guess they felt some type of way about her calling them rednecks, hillbillies, and all this other stuff, backwoods, all of that. And I was like, oh Lord. She was like, "I'm not from the South. Detroit is, located in the North. It's like in the north of here. This is the South, because, this show is in Atlanta, Georgia." So yeah, she kept telling them they need to get out of here. And they were like, "Well, we bought tickets so we can come back here just to tell you this." And in my mind, I'm just like, whether you have money or not, you sat up here and spent money just so you can come into this woman's job to try her. Now, if you were really bold, like you want to make it seem like you are, why couldn't you have waited until you could catch her outside or something like that? Y'all are notorious for that. Y'all are notorious for waiting for somebody to be outside, seeing them somewhere, and tracking and hunting them, and following them down roads and all back roads and whatnot, following them home. Like, of course, that's not what I want to happen in real life or on the show. But I'm just saying, to me, that don't make sense. You over here wasting money just to go up in this person's job to try to think you finna regulate. Y'all, anyway, they are in the process of leaving. And she was like, she came from behind the desk, was like, "Oh, excuse me, I think you left something." But she was, kind of putting on an act. But then she rolled up and went off on them. And while she was going off and going back and forth with them, calling them, hillbillies and all of that, yet again, Zach rolls up on that cart that he normally carries the passengers and their luggage on. And he was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what's going on?" Oh, of course, the ignorance was still flowing from their lips. I think one of them called him Jamal or something. He was like, "What? I got your Jamal." So while he going off on these men, Danni done went round a corner. She done went round. Didn't nobody even, I know I ain't even pay attention to her because I was watching the back and forth going on. She done went and got on the golf cart and ran them over. And I died laughing. Woo, woo. I was here for it. So yeah. I was here for that. So she done ran them over. And so, of course, Zach is shook. They shook because they done got ran over. And I mean, I think she pushed that thing I think she pushed that pedal all the way down to the floor. So anyway, and so she tried to act like she was remorseful, like it was an accident. She was like, oh no, oh my gosh, are you okay?" And so Zach was like, oh my gosh. Y'all, of course, after the, moment of shock, the ignorance continued to come out. Old boy called them niggers again. And so Zach was like, what did you say? Because see, the first time it happened, he said it directly to Danni and leaned in and said it to her while she was behind the desk. And so he was like, what did you say? So he was like, you heard what I said. So anyway, they, kind of, limped off and ran off like wounded animals. And so because Zach is upset by what has happened between him and Karen, she had to tell him, don't sit up here and take your anger out for Karen on them or whatever. And she had to like kind of keep it cute and was like, there are cameras all around and you need to go get on that plane and do what you were doing. Supervisors are coming. Yeah, do that because I'll handle that. You go get on that plane. I was like, girl. Oh my gosh, y'all, I'm getting my life. So anyway, so then we are now at the bank and Sabrina is still in her office teaching Jacoby what he somehow continues to forget, which we all know is a lie. So anyway, Maurice tired of his spirit. And this is like shortly after Calvin already dropped by. So he barges in the office and was like, what did he say? He said something about, he was supposed to say periodically, but he said periodical or something. He said, I don't know, he was being, Maurice was being stupid. So anyway, eventually he was able to get old boy out the office. And so straight up told her, you need to cut these lies out. It don't take that long for you to do what you was doing. You like him. She over here talking about, no, I don't like him. I don't know what you're talking about. And so he was like, yes, you do. And he, was like, look, I got the test results. I have one for Jacoby and I have one for Calvin. And so he said Jacoby is clean. And so he gonna lie talking about he didn't open the test results for Calvin. And so she was like, Maurice, these are open already. And he was like, yeah, I couldn't wait for you. So opened them. She saw that he was clean. And so he was like, you need to go ahead and call him because he saw what was going down earlier between you and Jacoby. And so she was like, really? And he was like, yeah, go ahead and call him. So she was like, no, I've been waiting on him to call me. So he was like, look, you need to go ahead and deal with this boy out here because you want that. And she kept on trying to deny it. And then he was like, well, he said something about him zipping up his fly, saying that his fly was open. And so she ended up peeking out the window like, what, where that though? Ooh, wait a minute. And he was like, see, I already know. So I don't know how that's going to go down, but whatever. She do need to do something. My thing is she's not in a committed relationship, so she could actually actively date people. That's not considered to be a hoe. So even though other people might tend to lean in that direction and make it seem as if it is, but it's not. She's not married. She's not engaged to be married. She's not in a committed relationship with somebody. So she can very much so do that. So I wish she would. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Jacoby would be somebody who she really need to be with like that. But he, he did some sweet things earlier in these episodes. And he a little fine. So, it is what it is. And as a lot of people have already noticed and picked up on, ever since she first started dealing with Calvin, she is insecure about being with him, exclusively because he is not like roughneck and rugged and rough around the edges and all of that. When you see him, he is not like that. I mean, the lace panties, the lace panties, as everybody likes to refer to them as, like the things that he likes sexually. And so Maurice is like, okay, so what you trying to say? You want a concussion? Like what she was just like, what? He was just like, I mean, what you trying to say? You want a concussion or something? You want somebody to go knock you out? And so she was like, well, I mean, he has banged his head up against the headboard. So he trying to figure out what in the world they doing sex-wise for him to be the one banging his head up against the headboard. Y'all, I'm tired. But anyway, she needs to work that out. I have already said before, I think like last season, that I don't really see it for them like that because of her extreme insecurities about how he lives his life. But if she can get over that, it might be able to work. But in the meantime, she did just go ahead and date multiple people, do what you gonna do, and stop sitting up here just acting as if you owe everything to one person and you are not in any type of relationship with anybody. So Zach is on the plane cowering behind a seat because, of course, I really feel like, if I'm not mistaken, I really think that Atlanta still enforces that 3 strikes and you're out. Like, a lot of places enforce that. That might be one of the places that does that. Like, they don't play. If he go away again, it's a wrap for him. So anyway, and I mean, they be going away for a nice chunk of change for like small things down there. So I don't blame him. But anyway, so he was like, is everything okay? What's going on now? And so she was like, I handled everything. It is what it is. So then she's trying to offer him her vape pen. And he was like, Danny, I'm not finna do that. Like, I'm here at work. How do you even still have a job? See, this is what I'm talking about, because these are questions that no one answers. I have been asking this since season 1, because this heifer stays smoking all day, every day, and still has a job. Do they not pop random drug tests on these people? Like, I'm not understanding. So anyway, I mean, because like you would, like a lot of jobs that are like this, a lot of people have wanted to like work at like airports and all of that. Like, it might not seem glamorous, but they get pretty decent money. So yeah, it ain't the greatest thing in the world, but they get paid quite well. But anyway, so yeah, she over here, she's smoking down, and they're talking, and then eventually she produces a box. And so he was like, what is this? He opens the box. It's his grandfather's stuff. He gets emotional, and he's trying to figure out how she got it and all this other stuff. Where did she find it? She said she got it out of Lost and Found. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, did she go to Karen's house on break and went to see if the box was still out there? Or when Karen was, kind of snuck into where he was at, did she then put the box in the Lost and Found? And that's where it's been for that time when Karen was there and went off on him. Like, what is going on? This ain't making sense to me. I'm trying to remember, had she left the airport and had enough time to go on a break to go see if the box was there. So anyway, he was very grateful. He was like, oh my gosh, you are such a good friend. And I mean, Danni is a good friend. Danni be doing the most. She be old one, but she really is a good friend. She really is ride or die for real. Like, she really will pull up with the trunk loaded down with some things. Yeah, Danni's like that. But anyway, she really is a rider. So they had their moment, and he wanted to know what was going on when she was on the inside of the airport. She was like, look, those were some of Preston's people, whatever. And so he was like, what? Have you heard from him? And so she was like, nah, he hadn't called me back yet. I'm waiting. And so he was like, are you sure he gonna call you back? She was like, yeah, I'm sure he gonna call me back. I'm sure. So, she kind of starts becoming standoffish about discussing everything that's going on with that. And so he was like, man, Danni, come on now. We're supposed to be friends. We're supposed to be better than that. I just poured my heart out to you. I'm getting emotional. You can talk to me. So, they're having a moment and they talking. And so she making it seem like she good now. So yeah. I'm really, really wanting to know if he was putting on an act this whole time or if he really wanted her, because for his brother, even though I know people lie, I'm just like, okay, he ain't calling right now. Is he really that busy wrangling these animals? Does he not have reception? What is really going on that he is not answering this phone after she done went all the way off? I really feel like it has to be a lie, because for his brother to be like, oh, well, we bet that he wouldn't be able to pull a black girl. He already bagged her. He already got the draws. So it's like, why would he still need to keep up this facade? Maybe because it's that good. I'm really trying to see both sides, but I'm really hoping that this was not some foolishness. Fatima rolled all the way up on Hayden while he was in the office at the firm and said to him, what did you do? What are you saying to Zach? And so he looking like, okay, did he say something to you? And so she was like, no, I can just tell something off. And so he actually fessed up to the fact that he did try Zach. And so she told him, you don't run me. I do what I want to do. I can date who I want to date. I can screw whoever I want to screw. I can do whatever I want to do. I'm not with you, so it is what it is. And so, like, I'm just like, why? Why is it that every time you look up, he want to sit up here and be like, well, look at me. Look at me. And I'm like, apparently it ain't working because the woman that you want ain't here for you. So it's like, calm down. So anyway, he really over here trying to say, oh, well, look at me. Why would you? I'm just looking out for you because I don't want you to be getting caught up with guys like that. And so she was like, yeah, they've been in jail and all of that, but you could have easily been one of them. So you need to stop and get off your high horse thinking that you better than them. Like, I'm just tired. So anyway, she done went all the way off to the point where she done left out the office. Danni is in the hallway. She has overheard this ruckus and asked her, was she okay? Because she was like, it sounded pretty heated. And so she was like, yeah, I'm good. So then she, told her that she needed to see her in her office. They started talking. And she was like, yeah, everything is fine with me. I'm not worried about him. She wanted to make sure there was no sexual harassment going on. So she was like, girl, no, I will cut him. I was like, I know that's right. But yeah, they talking. She said everything was cool. And yeah. Fatima, was able to express how she's been feeling because, she really is digging Zach, but right now nobody is divulging names, so it is what it is. But yeah, I'm glad that Andi actually apologized to Fatima. She was like, oh, I was short with you earlier, so I just wanted to apologize. She was like, oh girl, you good. And so she was like, no, I shouldn't have did it. And so Fatima was like, look, I understand it has to be hard being you. So she was like, what do you even mean? And so she was like, you were dealing with a married man. You were dealing with all these people. A lot of stuff was going on. So I understand. Girl, bye. Fatima is too understanding. But I ain't got time. Like, she really was short with her for no reason. That is the main person who has had her back this entire time. Child. So anyway, eventually she was like, okay, so are you finished with me? Do you need me to do anything else? And so she looked at her watch, realized that it was getting late. And so she was like, oh, no, I'm good. And so when she was leaving out, she had got a knock on the door. And so she opened the door to leave. It was Paris. So Paris came in and, he wanted to make sure she was okay. But literally all of this was over the span of a day. When the fight went down between him and Gary, all of that. This is literally the next day. It's nighttime now. Like, I'm just like, Lord, time moves slow on this show. That's what a lot of shows, but sometimes I'm just amazed of how slow it goes. But anyway, so he wanted to make sure she was okay. She was like, oh yeah, I'm good or whatever. And so she was like, I saw your mother earlier. I talked to her and all of that. And eventually he was like, I want to take you out on a date. Can we, have dinner? She was like, well, I can't do that tonight because I'm going to be with my girls. So that would not be a good time. So he was like, okay. And he straight up told her, well, call me when you are clear and sober. And so she was like, okay, I'm gonna call you when I'm clear and sober. He was like, no, for real. I need you to call me when you're clear and sober because that's the Andi that I want to know. I want to know this Andi, which was, she seemed to be clear and sober at work. And he was like, I just felt like I was being treated like a piece of meat. And so she was like, you pretty much are, but I know what you mean. So we'll see where that goes. Hopefully she'll give him a chance and hopefully it ain't gonna be no foolishness. And hopefully Gary will catch a slug or a case or something because I'm tired. Because it's the mental instability for me every single time. Fatima called Zach when she was leaving work to let him know that, she handled things. And so he looked like, what you mean you handled things? I told you not to say nothing to him. So she was like, I need you to trust me. I handled it. You ain't got to worry about it no more. So of course he's in his feelings because he really feels like because Hayden is in the position that he's in, he really will be able to do some damage to his life. And he does not need anything else to go wrong. So anyway, she was like, look, I'm going home. I need you to come over when you're done over there at the house. putting in your sweat equity because I'm going to make dinner and I want to see you. So he is trying to fight it every step of the way. She was like, look, I haven't steered you wrong yet, have I? You need to come over here and get some of this dinner. And I'm pretty sure it's a dessert. I got parched all of a sudden. Let me stop. And but eventually he did give in. So he be liking it. He likes what she do. He likes what she be saying and things. So yeah, we'll see how that pan out. Danni was the first of all the ladies to arrive to Sabrina's house, and so they had a heart-to-heart where she shared what happened at work today. Yeah, Karen was about to be the next one to enter, so once she heard that somebody was about to come in, she told Sabrina not to bring it up. And she just kept saying it over and over again. She was like, I don't feel like talking about this right now. I'm going to eventually talk to them about it, but please don't bring it up tonight. So she was like, okay, I promise. So, of course, Karen came in. She wanted something to drink. Earlier, when Danni came in, she wanted something to drink stronger than the wine and, you know, the champagne and things that they normally have. And so she had to direct her to the cabinet where the hard liquors are for her to get what she was going to get for her fix. And she's high on top of that. And Karen wanted something, and there is some cheap wine in the refrigerator that she, you know, took a couple of sips of. So she is still dead set on believing that Zach is the one who charged up her credit card. Y'all, Danni says she don't think he did it. Sabrina says she don't think he did it. And everybody is asking all the right questions. Karen ain't trying to hear none of this. She done went all the way off on them because she was like, well, why is it that y'all seem like y'all on his side and all this, y'all, whatever. And I mean, they went into like a pretty long discussion about it, argument, whatever you want to say. Yeah. Andi finally showed up and they were still discussing it. And so she was like, do you think he actually did it? And she was like, what is wrong with y'all? Y'all supposed to be on my side. Like, she really done went off on everybody, and everybody is saying the same thing. Everybody is saying that this does not sound like Zach. Nobody believes that Zach has done this. Y'all, I'm tired. If it ends up being Aaron, Aaron to me is the number one suspect. And I'm going to tell y'all at the end of the video why, or hopefully before the end of this scene, I'm gonna tell y'all why. So anyway, Sabrina decided that she was gonna do a segue into Danni's situation. And I was just like, heifer, didn't we just have this conversation? And you already know, everybody in the room black. Everybody finna be tied in their spirit. And so every time she was supposed to be the one who was gonna tell the story, Sabrina telling the story. So anyway, she's telling her everything, telling them everything that has happened. And of course, everybody want to know, have they heard, you know, has she heard from him? He hasn't responded. So y'all, as the day progresses, it's now nighttime. And in my mind, I'm like, again, either he was a very, very convincing actor or something going on. Like, now it's nighttime and I'm worrying. I'm like, okay, the type of racist that his people are, they might be the type to beat you down in all of this. And we're going to get to all that later on. But yeah, because I was just like, this ain't making no sense. Like, some people, they are so trash that even if this was a bad, they would call you back and be like, yeah. And then show their true colors and at least tell you that. And tell you, yeah, you was a bet. And do the most. Because a lot of them are very arrogant in that way and would really try you like that. And then politely tell you to leave them alone and stop calling them, lose the number and all of that. So I'm like, it's gotta be a lie. So anyway, surprisingly enough, none of Sabrina's business came up. The only thing that came up was the fact that she was cooking. And apparently when she cooks, it's very bland. Also, as far as the situation with Zach, Sabrina was looking over the charges. And so she noticed the company that her, card is through. She was like, oh, this is a sister company to my bank. I'm cool with somebody that work over there. I can call them and, get more information to see, for certain, what's going on, because she's just like, look, I trust the bank. The bank said he did it, so I think he did it. And so she was like, let me look into it. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure it'll take a couple of days or whatever. So she ended up calling the person. The person told her that they gonna pull the video footage and the signatures and all. I mean, because everybody was like, well, did you get a copy of the signature to see if it's... Like, she is just like not trying to hear nobody say nothing about this man. And I'm like, girl, you dumb. You're dumb. You are dumb. Y'all, let me tell y'all what I've been thinking it was this whole time. I really feel like it's Aaron. And this is my thing. I'm trying to understand where he would have all this money from to just pop up and do all these things. First of all, if I'm not mistaken, he said that he's like an associate pastor or something at a church, and it's not a mega church. Now, if it had been a mega church, I would understand an amazing salary. I don't think he getting paid like that doing that. And he don't do nothing. Does he do anything else? I don't think he do nothing else like that. So, or where he works, I don't think he getting paid like that. So, no. Like, I'm like, this ain't making no sense to me. And every time she call, he Johnny on the spot. You ain't got no stocks and bonds and stuff. Just, I don't feel like he has money working for him to just be able to just drop everything he doing every time she call and have a situation pop off. So that's why I'm really strong in feeling like he is the number one suspect in doing all of this. And then the only other person that I can think of is Hayden, because he want to be trash and want to try to find a way to, you know, mess Zach up. But I really feel like it's going to be Aaron. I feel like that's going to be the twist that it's going to be, and I'm going to be tired, and I'm going to be like, this is just don't make no sense. Girl, just stay single for the rest of your life at this point, because it ain't going to work. Anyway, so yeah, they about to eat the bland food that Sabrina making. So then Danni go out to her car. Apparently she has left and gone home. And she in her car, she's calling Preston one last time and leaving a message and saying, I've called you all day and all night. You have not returned my phone calls. And, you know, the way she, you know, left the message, you could tell she was, you know, kind of defeated and like, kind of like, I ain't calling you no more. So then she goes to her apartment and like she goes inside. Apparently she was sitting outside. She goes inside and is about to go into her apartment. And you hear a noise, and I was like, please tell me these fools did not roll up on her. No, it's Preston beat up, sitting on the floor in front of her door. I was like, oh my gosh, because the wheels started turning in my mind, and I really was like, what if they took his phone and beat him up? This is what I'm saying to myself. So I don't know if they took his phone, but he has not responded, and that don't even make no sense. It ain't adding up because of the way that he's been acting. So yeah, y'all. And that's where it ended. So hopefully, woo, child, we're going to be able to get into that when it come back on. Anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed this recap review of Tyler Perry's Sistas. Please, let's get down in this comment section and discuss this all over again like we've been doing, y'all. It has been a mess. Anyway, y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all later on.